Hi, I'm Kelly Hushin, and I am the editor of the e-tail blog. I'm here at the Mobile Shopping Summit in New York City, our launch event of the Mobile Shopping Summit, with Tom Davis from Kenneth Cole.
Yep.
And you just gave a presentation doing a little bit of the best practices in mobile, and I thought that there was some interesting stuff in there about the breakdowns of the different kinds of retailers and companies that we have on mobile. And can you just talk a little bit about that, because I thought that was great.
Yeah, so what I did is I went into, and I segmented the m-commerce market and really looked at mass merchants, what I call lookup sites, and brand retailers. And the examples would be mass merchants would be your Targets and your Walmarts. Lookup sites would be your hotels and airline sites, and your brand retailers would be retailers like ourselves at Kenneth Cole or Abercrombie & Fitch or American Eagle. And what I really did is try to break down the different types of navigation paths and or structures that they're using, and kind of what the common practices were.
And what were some of the things you found?
Yeah, so what I really started seeing, it was actually a little bit of serendipity, because I wasn't sure what I was going to find. And the mass merchants really, what I started seeing was, because they're so product heavy, meaning the amount of SKUs that they carry, for example, Walmart carries about 2 million SKUs, is that the site structure was really focused around search and browsing product categories, and really then stripping out all the, what I would call weekly ads or circular marketing, where conversely a site like a lookup site or an American Airlines or a W Hotels website was really focused on logging in to your account and or downloading their iPhone app. So those were the prominent features that they were really focused on. Rather than creating a reservation, it was log in, check out our app, or find your gate to your airline. It wasn't about buying a plane ticket. It was very interesting how they all broke down.
So do you think that means that they're assuming that you already have some sort of reservation with them or account, and really it's more about like driving that brand and really giving you the experience you need mobilely?
Yeah, I think especially for the lookup sites, so the airline sites and the hotel sites, from what I can gather, and this is me speaking, is really that those sites are geared towards people who already have established a link with the brand. So whether they have a hotel room, they've already bought a ticket, and now they just need additional information. So check-in time, what gate is your flight at? Is there a delay on your flight? I think that's just a very different mentality for those sites. So I feel like that's why they're leading and or designing that way.
And let's talk a little bit about the brand retailers like yourselves, like Kenneth Cole. How are those mobile sites being designed differently?
Well, I think they're being designed quite differently from what I would say the mass retailers and or the lookup sites, whereas they're very stripped down and raw. The brand retail sites are definitely still maintaining a sense of brand. So you go to a Kenneth Cole or a Steve Madden and or a Tory Burch, all those sites, not only do they have the standard e-commerce navigation and functionality, but they also have a lot of brand attributes or hero images or glamour shots. So they're really trying to carry through what the brand essence is, and it carries throughout all of their sites. Where if you compare, let's say, a Tory Burch to a Walmart, the experiences are very different in terms of, one is the Tory Burches are trying to represent the brand and the brand aesthetics throughout the experience, much akin to what they do in store, whereas Walmart is just, it's bare bones. It's trying to get you to dive into their product catalog without much fanfare.
Right. So what do you think an e-commerce site can learn from, kind of almost like a reverse learning curve from their mobile site?
Well, actually somebody asked that today, and what I've started to see is that there are really good practices that we're learning from mobile, which is stripping down the site, keeping it functional and fast, and making sure, for a brand retailer, what I talked about today is Kenneth Cole has, I believe, 6 main navigation categories. So men's, women's, accessories, shoes, kids and sale. And what we've done on mobile is we've really stripped that down to just men, women, and sale, because all of those other categories are a part of the main category structure. So what we're doing is we're going back into 2011 and rethinking about our category or our navigational structure to really pare it down and simplify so that it mimics what we're doing on mobile, because we just found it to be very efficient and very customer friendly.
Do you think that some e-commerce platforms have gotten too kind of fancy and gotten away from some of those basics?
Well, I do. I mean, there's definitely something to be said about having too much information. I know that there's definitely sites that I get to and I just get lost on. And unless I know specifically what I'm looking for, I can have trouble. You can get lost. So I do think that there's more is not always better. And I guess that's maybe the lesson that I've learned from this week's presentation about looking at all the navigational structures out there in e-commerce. customers.
Right. Now, going back to mobile, you also brought up something which I thought was kind of cool, which is why do all mobile sites look the same?
Yeah.
I mean, the good ones anyway seem to have basic functionality. They have a scroll down menu. Obviously, it's working to some degree, but what's next? I mean, maybe there are other things that can work too.
Yeah, so I talked about that a little bit at the end of today's presentation, which is I think we've just fallen onto bad habits into habits of just creating very vertical looking sites on the mobile devices. So most websites scroll up and down, so it is natural that all mobile sites should scroll up and down as well. But what I tried to point out today, using an example which is maybe not a commerce site, but Burger King has a mobile site which is all icon based, and I think Steve Jobs and the iPhone and the iPad has proven that icon based navigation works, and not only does it work from a point of view of knowing where to scroll or navigate, you can also go left and right. You don't have to go up and down, and I think that is something that we will start to see in some of the front runners of mobile commerce, which is they're going to get away from this not only up and down scrolling, but also they're going to go more icon based, especially as you start going international and getting into different regions which may or may not speak English and may or may not be literate at all. So I think that's something that we need to be cognitive of and think about as we're starting to build our own commerce sites.
Yeah, I think you mentioned your son is, how old is he?
He's 3.
He's 3 and he knows how to use an iPad.
He knows how to use an iPad and an iPhone, and it's purely by colors. And as I said, he knows how to find the iPod button because it's orange, or he knows how to find the App Store button because it's blue, and it has nothing to do with being literate. It's all about shapes and colors, and he can navigate my iPhone and iPad almost as well as I can. So it just shows you simple interfaces, he understands scrolling, that these are some of the attributes that will be coming out undoubtedly over the next year or two.
Shows you the potential that mobile has. So thanks so much for sitting down with us, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
All right.